Okanagan, Similkameen Nicola.
Mr. Speaker, the President of the United States has ordered the release of their strategic reserve to help struggling families with record-high gas prices at the pumps. Here's an idea for our jet-setting Prime Minister for his meeting in Los Angeles. We know he likes to import American cultural problems to paper over his lack of leadership. Could he instead import good ideas from our neighbors to the south, like taking action on high gas prices instead of his habitual dividing of Canadians? Or does he want to maintain his reputation as Canada's divider-in-chief?
The Honourable Minister for Natural Resources.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank the honourable member for the same question as yesterday. We certainly recognize the current impact that the invasion of Ukraine by Russia is having on global energy prices around the world. That is something that is of concern to all countries, all democratic countries. It is something that we are working actively with our partners in the United States and in Europe to address. We have announced that we will be increasing oil and gas production by 300,000 barrels a day by the end of the year, alongside our American friends who are doing likewise. We are working to stabilize energy prices, and here at home we are working to ensure affordability for Canadians on an ongoing basis.
Excellent. The Honourable Member for Central Okanagan, Similkameen Nicola.
Divider-in-chief and ditherer-in-chief right over there. Yeah. Canadians have long appreciated that the most groceries are exempt from GST. This keeps groceries affordable for families. Yesterday, when the Conservative opposition voted to temporarily do the same by suspending GST on gas and diesel to help Canadians with out-of-control prices at the pump, the SPEND-EP Liberals voted against it. When will this Prime Minister put affordability ahead of Liberal tax and spend ideology?
Great question. The Honourable Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. From day one, this government has put affordability at the forefront. The opposition voted against middle-class tax cuts. They voted against the daycare program to ensure affordability for Canadians. They have voted against affordability measures since 2015, and they continue to do so. Here, we are working on practical solutions to address the energy crisis that is facing the world. We are working to ensure that we are increasing our production, working with our partners around the world to address this issue, to stabilize energy prices, and to ensure affordability for Canadians going forward.
Excellent. Honourable Member for Calgary-Mindapore.
The price of gas and diesel is hitting record highs across Canada, making it more expensive for Canadians to live their everyday lives. The Liberal government keeps blaming oil and gas companies, but it's Liberal energy policies that have put us in this place. Energy workers build our communities, help the disadvantaged, and provide billions of dollars to national programs. So when will the Prime Minister stop blaming our natural resources sector, take responsibility, and suspend the GST on gas and diesel?
The Honourable Minister of Natural Resources.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Certainly, I understand the role, the important role that energy workers play in this country. I've spent much of my time since being appointed to this post in Calgary, working with the energy sector. I would actually suggest to my colleagues across the way that they perhaps meet with some of the energy sector to understand that they are focused very much on ensuring that we are doing what we need to do to address energy security issues, to address affordability issues, and yes, to fight climate change.
Excellent. Well, member for Calgary-Mindapore.
This Liberal government is determined to phase out Canada's oil and gas sector, and now our Labour Minister is surprised that we don't have enough workers in the industry to keep up with demand. As prices for gas and diesel keep climbing, this Liberal government knows it's their policies that put us here. Their years of industry-killing legislation and laying off thousands of workers are ruining families and lives. So when will this government take responsibility for this cost of living crisis and provide Canadians with some relief?
The Minister.
Certainly, it is important that we are thinking about how we actually create good economic prospects for people across this country, that we are creating jobs and economic opportunities. I was very pleased last week to launch the regional energy and natural resource tables, which are about building on a province-by-province, territory-by-territory basis, a future that is going to create those jobs and economic opportunities in a manner that actually will drive growth and prosperity, in a manner that is consistent with meeting our moral obligation to our children to fight climate change. I certainly look forward to working with the energy sector as we move forward in that direction.
Honourable Member for Parry Sound, Muskoka.
Mr. Speaker, Canada is in a housing crisis. Too many families are unable to find a safe roof over their head, and young Canadians, many are just being forced to give up on the dream of ever even owning a home. There's a simple solution, though. Build more houses and increase the housing supply. Yet all we see this government do is pose for photo ops at spending announcements, but there's a curious lack of ribbon cuttings. Mr. Speaker, my question is simple. When is this government going to get off the sidelines and demonstrate leadership to end exclusionary zoning and say yes to building more homes for Canadians?
Minister for Housing.
Mr. Speaker, I have no doubt to say that they are facing a crisis of leadership because the honourable member fails to mention that his leader, his very leader, refuses us to help municipalities with supply. His member from Matsukuy Mission, Fraser Canyon, says that we should step back and not invest in provincial housing programs. He is opposed on record against foreign ban of Canadian residential real estate. And he has opposed funding for affordable housing for Indigenous peoples. Rhetoric, rhetoric, rhetoric.
The honourable member for Parry Sound, Muskoka.
There it is, Mr. Speaker. Once again, more rhetoric, more talk, no real action. If billions of dollars, if announcing billions of dollars could solve this problem, we'd have a housing surplus in this country right now. In fact, the number of houses per 1,000 Canadians has gone down dramatically since 2016 under this government's watch. Again, Minister, when is this government finally going to have the courage to do what's right and commit to working with provincial governments and municipalities to end exclusionary zoning and fix this crisis?
The Honourable Minister.
Doing exactly that through the Housing Accelerator Fund. The Housing Accelerator Fund is all about supply, supply, supply. But they are on record of opposing the Housing Accelerator Fund.
I'm just going to interrupt. The honourable member for Parry Sound, Muskoka asked a question. He wants to hear the answer, I'm sure. So if we can just keep it down. The honourable minister from the top, please.
Mr. Speaker, the honourable member should speak to his leader, who has trashed and rubbished the Housing Accelerator Fund, which is all about supply. His colleague from Calgary Centre, from Calgary Riverbed, from Edmonton Riverbed, I should say, from Mission Matsukuy, Fraser Canyon, from Central Okanagan, Similkameen, Nicola. All of them have said contradictory things about housing supply, about support for first-time home buyers, about building more affordable housing in this country. They have no shame, Mr. Speaker.